Yep, and to the bottom right, the player from KT Rolster in the red, it's Crazy. And his opponent to the top left is True. I didn't let you make any jokes this time.
That's fine. I'm wondering if we will see a 10 pull.
Yeah,
again.
you know, I mean, it starts to feel like chances are one of them will do it. What if they both do it? That would be
cool. That would be a pure micro game unless they both decide that they can't gain anything and then just stay at home. Here comes the Overlord. We have 10 drones already for True, the Overlord at 9 for Crazy, and True is building the Overlord at 10.
But he still did a 10 pull with the Overlord on the first map, so he could do it again. But it looks like nope, he's just going to do the extractor cancel.
Really? He did the
he did
Overlord
that
on the first map before
and then
he started his pool?
Yeah, and then he got the extra drones and started his gas. Same spawning location.
Okay, I don't like that build at all.
Yeah, it's a build that's been like proven to be bad.
Yeah, in the first game I messed the two of them up, which is why the early game was a little bit awkward, but that build is really, I don't like it.
It's just not, it's not as efficient as the other builds.
It's a little bit half-hearted. You either go all out or you don't.
Yeah.
It's my personal opinion, at least, in this matchup.
You only have basically one extra drone, but you lose. I mean, it's been discussed to death. I don't even feel we have to talk about why. But double hatch first. So this is the build I was hoping to see from both of them, so we can see who has, you know, the better decision making in a game where neither player starts with a builder advantage. And this is going to be a test of true ZVZ skill as far as decision making goes. And they even both go into the same gas build, so taking all the risks.
It's exactly the same timing that we have for them. Very, very delayed this time. It's funny that Crazy does the same thing that he did in the last game. With the early pull that we saw for True, he must feel really confident in his abilities to fend off another early aggression attack by True. And he did well. He defended well in the last game. But right now, personally, I would be a little bit afraid if I would see that my opponent is willing to go for such a gamble, than going for another very late pool in the same matchup against the same opponent.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. And I think that's what True is banking on with him going for this aggressive hatchery build. He's thinking, well, maybe Crazy's going to go for a pool first to try to be safe, and then I'm going to have a little edge over him with my hatchery. And they're both going to see now with their Overlords the builds that have been chosen. And this becomes the moment in ZVZ where both players have to make good decisions about how safe they are with their Baneling Nest. You know, you can't really skip that. When do they make the Roach Warren? When's the lair going down? This is a really exciting game of minds to watch.
You have so many options from here. You can go for aggressive Speedling builds. You can go for still Baneling attacks. You can play a defensive. You can start a defensive Baneling Nest, set up a few Spine Crawlers, go straight into Roaches. There's so many options that you have what you can do. And both of them have to scout what their opponent is trying to accomplish here. If you don't prepare for a Speedling Allen, for example, and your opponent on 15, 16, 17 drones is just getting a massive amount of Zerglings with speed, you don't have Banelings, then you're going to lose that game for sure. So scouting is really important here.
And they both just safely make the Baneling Nest here. This is a really good choice because even if you don't make more than 2 Banelings, those 2 Banelings can save your life. And, you know, oftentimes you can use them later if your opponent doesn't attack you at all. It's not really that expensive. And they're both just droning up. Doesn't look like either of them wants to go for that attack.
No, they don't. They already have way too many Harvesters too. We have a lot more, well, you have the speed a little bit faster here for True, but in the scenario and how this game plays out, this is not going to lend itself to a really huge advantage for him. At the same amount of Harvesters, they are going, well, 24 to 26. They are going straight into a couple of Zerglings just to test the waters here. But we have the fast attack for True. He's the first one to start his lair.
Yeah, he starts his lair. And Crazy, on the other hand, is getting some defensive Banelings ready now. Since they both have speed at the same time, they can't outrun each other. This is very much a kind of a stale little middle ground area. True sends out some fake aggression here with some Lings. This is actually just to scout his opponent. He wants to try to get into the main if he can, or to just force more Lings out of his opponent while he gets drones, while he gets that lair. And these Banelings will be cancelled. Really nice micro by True. Well, he ended up wasting the Lings anyways, but that was well done.
And True is nearly done with his lair at this point, whereas Crazy doesn't even start his. Crazy is going into... He's actually not really doing a lot here at this point. We don't have additional Zerglings for him. He lost a few more than True in the last few battles. Is now starting his lair attack, but he is far behind. It matters all on what exactly True is going to do. Will we see Spire? Are we going to see Infestation Pit?
Yeah, I think, you know, on this map, you could see both. I don't know which one he's going to go for.
Spire.
Spire is the choice.
The Spire is actually in this situation for him pretty good if he starts to attack, because the thing is, with the late lair for his opponent, we will most likely then see an Infestation Pit. If he goes into Infestation Pit, we will also have Pathogen Glands that you have to wait for before you can start your Infestors. And this is all so delayed that True will have a window where he can do a lot of damage with those Mutalisks. He just has to make a decision to go to the bottom right and not spend too much time taking down Overlords on the way.
Yeah, exactly. If he spends too much time on the Overlords, that's going to give his opponent enough time to get the Infestors out and then move down and defend his third base. Nice defense here. True really good at defending these avoid questions by Crazy. Did he see the Spire? I think he did. Let's verify that. Yeah, he did see it.
And he goes into a Spire on his own. Now this is going to be interesting. This is not something that we see all too often. Usually you have one player going into either Hydralisks or the Infestation Pit. But now this is going to be a battle of gas. Who has more gas? Right now it's Crazy. And the third base plays a huge role, because with the third base you get gas 5 and 6, and it all comes down to how much gas can you harvest. Can you take down with your Mutalisks one of your opponent's extractors so that he falls behind, and are you going for upgrades or just sheer numbers?
This is an interesting choice by Crazy, because usually the player who goes mutas is going to go for a third and try to deny your third. So he's going to know True has the third up first, but will he be able to mine enough gas to make up for his deficit he's got right now?
Look at the gas that we have for Crazy. He has a huge bank. He got his gas a bit earlier than True and is now using, or will use, all of it for the upgrades. This is actually going to be really interesting, especially since True is apparently... Is he changing his tech completely? Is he going straight into Roach with +1 attack now and stops Mutalisk production? Looks like it.
That could be, you know, in some cases a really good choice, but depends on how many mutas Crazy makes. It looks like he might make 11. I mean, that's how much gas he's got. He could even make 12 as soon as he has a few more minerals. He's going to go in here and scout how many mutas his opponent is making. Nice split there against the Baneling, and one Ling gets into the main. He will be able to see these eggs if he micros it correctly.
That's 11 Mutalisks now for Crazy. And the Roaches can do a lot of damage if they hit at a timing, especially since it takes a while for the Mutalisks to take them out. But honestly, that timing has passed. He doesn't have speed. It's not like he went straight into a Roach run before the lair tech was done and then starts his speed upgrade. So he will be able to overpower the 4 Mutalisks that are on the map. True is probably trying to hunt some Overlords now. And he could do a lot of damage here.
Yeah, just really good scouting, by the way, from Crazy. Right now, you guys are not seeing on screen, but he's running a Ling around the base just repeatedly. What? Somehow True hasn't noticed it.
What is True doing? Why is he getting the +1 attack upgrade for the Mutalisks now if he already decided that he's not really committing to them?
Maybe he's trying to go into some more mutas a little bit later and fight the fight. I don't know.
I guess so. I mean, he has the gas, but now he's also adding the infestation hit.
Well, you know, in StarCraft 1, these guys are both Brood War players. In StarCraft 1's it's all about the mutas. But in this case, I don't really understand it either that he's getting the +1. I think he...
Now he's going back into Mutalisk trying to catch up. Well, he has a strong ground force. He has a huge supply lead in this game, which helps him. He had more harvesters, the better economy because of his earlier third base. He has the advantages in this match for sure. The third base was so early compared to Crazy's that he can't afford these things, and now he's executing all this pressure.
He's gonna get this queen.
Coming together slowly now, trying to execute pressure at the natural and the third, and then building up his Mutalisk count.
You know what? The queen actually survives with 36 hit points. I see what he's... I kind of get what he's doing here. He's going to try to use his own mutas to buy a little bit more time, even though he can't fight muta versus muta. He can keep his opponent's mutas occupied, and if he trades like this...
He has a lot of Mutalisks by now, Wolf. He has 11 against 13. He's building another 5, and he will be the first one with a +1 attack upgrade.
And he's also getting the Pathogen Glands, so for him to put this aggression on the map, yeah, he can't fight the mutas straight up until all of his mutas are together, but he's keeping his opponent occupied right now. He's not attacking him, so he can get these Pathogen Glands out, so he can get the Infestors out.
He's actually the one who kind of dominates the air now. He can also use all the aggression to put Crazy in his place. Crazy will have to wait for the Infestors. He can't really do anything before they are out.
Yeah, and this is... Crazy now is very behind, and he doesn't really have much he can do to turn the tide. He can't even try to force a favorable engagement because there's nothing that True is giving him. He's not giving him any openings. He doesn't even have Overlords on the map for the mutas to kill. There's one more, and he'll get it to the bottom left. In fact, he just barely missed it, even though he has it on the Watchtower. Why did he not kill that? Must have been just a misrally. He must have had it on attack move and the Mutas just didn't quite see it. The Mutas themselves.
True is now in possession of 18 Mutalisk against 12. He has a +1 attack upgrade.
Yeah.
He could do so much aggression. I mean, the time window is closing as now the 7 infestors are being built, but he could really have tried to hit this third base.
I like the snipe on the queen here by True. This is going to further limit his opponent's production. He even killed several drones with this. 7 drones in total killed. He's behind in workers slightly, but he just has the better composition overall on the map, and that's not going to matter. He's making more drones his opponent because he knows he can now. He's up 40 supply, and Crazy's getting a lot of infestors. I think as the Mutalisk count will become less and less important as the infestors start to get good fungals off, so he's going to have to make sure he micros his infestors not to lose them against the Mutas, but once the Mutas start to disappear.
The only reason that I can come up with why he didn't use the Mutalisk that he had to pressure the third base is that he assumed he was behind in the Mutalisk count. This is the only explanation that I can come up with. If you know that you have the higher Mutalisk, the better Mutalisk numbers, and he should have known that because he killed 4 and he already saw his opponent's Mutalisk, then there is no way that you're just going to stay around with them. If there are no infestors, and there weren't any infestors, not by a long shot, he could have done so much at the third base. He tried to pressure and take down at least an extractor to limit the gas income. He's still going to be completely fine with a 50 supply lead, but he could have done so much more.
Yeah, you're so right. He could have done more, but he must not have realized it. You know, in his brain, his whole idea with his Mutas is to keep his opponent occupied and keep him guessing a little bit while he gets his infestors up. And he didn't realize he was just ahead because he caught those. This is a massive fungal on these Mutas. And so far, Crazy has been able to keep his infestors mostly alive here. He does not have Burrow, but one more fungal will do it. The problem is he doesn't have it. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Here comes the split, and True is now going in with the rest of his ground army too. The Mutalisk, they're still alive. He splits them, and now even fungals can't turn that.
The Mutas are all just barely alive, and he lost his infestors in the main trying to kill him. Now he can't hold this push, and
50 supply lead. That says it all already. The Mutalisk will counterattack. Crazy is trying to move in at his opponent's third, but there's a fourth base. He just has to build a couple of spore crawlers. He has a few already, but Crazy's going to lose everything. He has entire base, his economy, and his army.
And the Mutas of True are still alive. As soon as they heal up a little bit, they can come back to help out. And Crazy is not even going for the economy. I'm a little bit surprised he doesn't start more spores. True, that is. He's starting some infestors, but
he has 700 minerals.
Well, he's got these queens. But he could start spores to be a little bit safer, honestly. And these Mutas are actually fighting in spore range right now.
There's so much energy on those queens that Transfuse is not going to be an option.
And he could fungal.
It also targets the wrong queens. You always target the one with the least energy. Yeah. Well, Crazy loses the game. True advances to the next round of Code A. Is going to face off against Boom Boom now. Congratulations.
Yeah, really well played by him. I feel Crazy had some really great decision making in game 2, but when it came down to the third one, everything that True was doing was just one step ahead. And he had the better Mutalisk count, decided not to use it, but then still hit with that really nice push with Roaches. It felt like Crazy didn't really know what was going on, like what True was really up to.
Well, as it is, we have another game coming up with the Protoss versus Zerg. The ZVZ decided by True, advancing to play another Zerg versus Zerg in the third round of Code A, and the winner of that one is going to win himself a spot in the GSL Code S. But now we're going into the next game, which is going to feature Killer versus Super.
Yeah, Killer looking really strong in his first round that he played. Taking an all-in on Icarus to close out the series with an Immortal push that went pretty long that he barely was able to accomplish a victory with by taking out too many of his opponent's SCVs. Really nice micro. Killer starting for MVP and GSTL recently as well, so he's definitely been practicing both games right now.
Su, on the other hand, took down MVP. With a 2-0 victory, he was able to defeat the Terran Legend. And now he's facing Killer, a Protoss player, so a different matchup for him. The maps, Icarus, Cloud Kingdom, and Kill and Flats. First one already hosted, so we're going to be in the game in just a few minutes. And the third opponent for those guys, whoever wins today, is going to be Lucira in the third round of Code A to battle the winner, or today's winner, for a spot in Code S.
That's going to be pretty exciting. Lucira, such a good player, playing really well in Code S this season. Nearly securing a spot for next season, but did fall down to the third round. Killer, I feel, has his work cut out right now. He's trying to be kind of a coach and a face for MVP, practicing 2 different games. And Icarus seems to be the MVP Killer map. So we'll see if he can pull something off there, but the next 2 maps I feel are going to be a little more difficult for him.
He did well against Happy though, and I really was impressed by his performance. So the matchup where he usually struggles is the matchup against Protoss.
Yeah.
Against Zerg, he could surprise us again today. MVP is doing really well lately, so they lost in the Team League, but in general their players seem a lot stronger than they were a few seasons before. They were always a team that didn't have these big stars in their lineup, but just players with a really impressive roster of overall good players. Now they have a champion in their midst as well with Sniper. They have of course also DRG and Keen are probably the 3 most notable players, but a very strong and very solid lineup, well-rounded. And Killer, he is thriving in this environment, so he might just be able to take down Su today.
Yeah, he may very well be able to do just that. Killer is a player who is so aggressive, he's very unpredictable. He's a player who is more of, like I said earlier, kind of a captain and a leader for his team than he is a player these days. And I feel like you could compare him to Choya of old, when Choya was still being a very competitive player while kind of managing Foyu back in the day. But he's very young, he's still very talented. Su is an up-and-coming player who was able to take out a legend already, and I think this is going to be a tough match for Killer. I think he needs a start on Icarus.
Yeah, Suez apparently is not ready just yet. Not quite sure how that happened, given that we have 4 boots here. But yeah, apparently he has to prepare a little bit more, and as soon as he joins the lobby, we are good to go. I'm really excited about his play. Against MVP, I certainly expected Terran player to win this series. Wasn't able to pull it off, so Su has to prove himself in the GSL once again.
Yep. Just asking in chat. Now Su is on his way in. So loading in the lobby.
Well, I think he was invited earlier, but declined the invite. So I hope that he's ready by now. I guess we're gonna go and find out in a second. There he is. Just joined. Sweet. So can start this game off.
Yep, he's in the lobby, and I assume that means he is ready.
Su is actually struggling a little bit in this matchup against Protoss. He's much stronger against Zerg and against Terran. Against Protoss, he is winning about half of the games that he plays. Won in Pro League a couple of times against Protoss opponents, especially against Motive and against Free, the last 2 that he faced. He lost to Bong, to Argo. Was able to take a win against JYP though.
Yeah.